Hi, I'm here wearing my crocheted pussy hat. I demonstrated making this one a few days ago, and I've received a bunch of questions from people that I wanted to address here on video. So grab your crochet hook and your questions, and if while I'm talking you come up with more questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. There are 3 days left to make a pussy hat. Even if you're a beginner crocheter or a knitter, there's totally time to make one. It is a super simple project. Generally speaking, whether a knit or crochet, you crochet a rectangle that's about 11 inches by 17 inches long, fold it in half so the short sides are together, seam up the sides, and you're done. The ears aren't anything magical. They just, look at this, woo! It's just a rectangle, nothing special until you put it on your head, in which case, ears, adorbs. So I'm gonna flip my camera around and show you a bit of the crochet now. And again, chime in with questions. I will see them right away. If you're watching this in a replay, comment with your questions and I will answer them right away. And you can always reach me at kimworker.com if you have questions that are longer or you want to ask in private. So here we go. I'm gonna flip the camera around. Ta-da! Here we have my crochet. So what I'm doing here, now you can download the pattern. The link is in the post here on my website at kimworker.com/blog. You can download. I have a free pattern up. There are also loads of other patterns for knitters and crocheters at pussyhatproject.com. And so the way that I've designed this hat is with single crochet through the back loop only ribbing here. And I explained in my last video, you can kind of scroll down and find my last video from a few days ago, how to make the ribbing here in single crochet through the back loop only. It's nice and stretchy, and then it kind of cinches back in. And what I've already done here is work a couple of rows of double crochet. So it's crunch time now. There's only 3 days left. So I am using double crochet instead of half double crochet because the double crochet stitches are taller, and that means I'll finish my rectangle sooner. So I've got the double crochet going. Sorry, I realize there's like a little light thing going on there. Anyway, what I want to show, so one of the questions that I've been getting, even before I do anything, one of the questions I've been getting is, hey Kim, my crochet is curling. Is that normal? The answer is, yep, totally normal. So especially with single crochet, which is a pretty squat and kind of tight stitch, single crochet fabric almost always curls, especially at the corner. See how that's just like, I can hold it down and then up it goes. That is totally normal. The nice thing about this hat is that it doesn't matter at all, because when you're done with your long rectangle that goes up this way, you're going to fold it in half and sew up this edge, and the curl will be kind of absorbed into the seam. No worries at all. If you're making any other kind of project in single crochet, chances are it'll be large enough that the curl won't make a difference in the end. But if you have more questions about single crochet curling and how you can do something called blocking to make that not happen anymore, go ahead and ask and I will do my best to answer. But that's totally normal. So if you're experiencing curling in the ribbed sections of your hat, totally normal. Don't worry about it. You are not doing anything wrong. Okay, so what I did here was I worked by about 8 inches of ribbing, and then without fastening off, I turned my work 90 degrees. Sorry, I worked the ribbing this way and then turned 90 degrees to work a row of, in this case, double crochet. In the pattern, it says half double crochet, but you can use any stitch you want, because again, all we're doing is making a rectangle to certain dimensions. It doesn't matter how you get to those dimensions, but you do want to try at least to make your stitches not too loose, because you want those ears to have enough rigidity to pop up and create the cat ears that make this hat the distinctive feminist statement that it is. So the other question that I got, in addition to curling, that I've received a bunch of times, is about keeping track of your edge stitches so that you end up with a rectangle that actually has straight edges instead of sort of wonky, wobbly edges like this. That is the second super common question I get from beginner crocheters. In addition to, why is my single crochet curling? Am I doing anything wrong? I get, my edges are a disaster, please help. And the reason that edges can be so difficult to keep straight is that the edge stitches look a little different than the stitches that go across in the middle of the row, and they are hard to see. And so what I'm going to do here is show you a little bit about how this works. Now again, I'm doing this in double crochet. The same concept holds in half double crochet. So I'm going to just insert my hook in the loop here. And I have a couple, like you can tell, it's very obvious here that I'm not at the end of the row. There's still some more to do. So I'm going to make another stitch, and then what we're going to do is kind of examine how this all looks as we go. Now I'm still obviously not done because there's still like a jog there, right? So I'm not going to turn my work yet because I know there's more to do. So I'm going to say, oh look, here's another stitch right here. So I'm going to insert my hook there, make the stitch. Now this is where things can start to look confusing. I'm going to pull my hook out there for a sec because this might look done. Yep, looks like it could be straight over there, no big deal. But especially with stitches where you use a turning chain that is tall, it's easy to miss working into the turning chain, especially if I tug this up right here. That looks like, yeah, it could be making a straight edge right there. But no, it's not. If I scrunch it down, you can see there's still room left to work right there. And this is where I advise my students to seriously manhandle your crochet. This is not fragile stuff. It might seem fragile and precious because you're concentrating so hard in doing it, but you are not gonna like ruin it by tugging at it. And so what we need to do is find that turning chain from the previous row. So I'm like sticking my finger even like right in. That's the turning chain. And we need to find the top one. So in double crochet, generally speaking, you probably made 3 turning chains, and it counts because it's so tall as the first stitch of this row, the row that we already completed. So we have to work into it at the end of the next row, this one we're working on now. So to do that, you manhandle it. You find the turning chain, you count 1, 2, 3 to get to the top chain, and then you insert your hook in there. Now, you can just shove your hook in there, just jam it in, or you can kind of use your fingers to pull the chain open a little bit. Look at that. I pulled the chain open and created an opening for my hook. And then I'm going to make a double crochet right in there. In fact, I'm going to insert it this way so that, there we go. My hook is now inserted into the chain, and I'm going to pull up a loop and complete my double crochet like normal. Now when I pull out my hook and I lay this down flat, we can see that, aha, there's nowhere left to work right here at the edge, and it is straight. Now, it doesn't look straight compared to the ribbing, and the reason is that the ribbing cinches in and the plain old double crochet stitches do not cinch in. And so that's normal. Right? So this like waviness that's happening here, the rippling, is because the double crochet simply takes up more space than the ribbing. But if I pull the ribbing out, then everything kind of lays flat, and that is normal. The reason you want ribbing at the brim of your hat is so that it cinches nice and close to your head. And so the middle section of your hat in the plain old stitches is going to be wider than the ribbing section. And that's totally normal. So now the way this hat is constructed is you'll continue up this way, working in double crochet or half double crochet or whatever stitch you're working in, making sure, trying at least as best you can to find that edge stitch here, right? Oh, and then in the next row, here, let me show. In the next row, we're going to, right, turn our work so that we're now at the beginning of the next row. And because I'm working in double crochet, I need to create the height that these stitches take up, and I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3, and that chain counts as my first double crochet of the row. And because it counts, I need to skip working into the very first stitch because it's as if this turning chain was made into that stitch, and that counts as a double crochet. If I were to work a double crochet into this very first stitch here, then my row edge would bulge out, because I would be essentially increasing in that stitch. I would be making an additional double crochet, one that doesn't belong. So I'm going to skip the first stitch and work the first real double crochet of the row into the second stitch, counting the turning chain as a stitch. So here I'm going to go like this for my first double crochet of the row, second stitch of the row, and pull my hook out, and then I'll show you. I'll lay the, oops, pulled my stitch out. Good one. Okay, pull that loop up tall so I don't lose my stitch as I wrangle all of this together. So I'm going to lay that down, and what you can see is, again, it's bulging out. That's only because all of these stitches take up more room than the ribbing. But here we have the turning chain, and that looks like a stitch right there, and then the first double crochet, and then we go across the row. Okay? So what happens now to make the rest of the hat, and remember to download, the pattern is free. You can find the link in this post. You make your rectangle up to about, say, a total of 13-ish inches from the beginning edge right here. And then you will make a second separate band of ribbing and sew it onto the other end, fold the whole thing in half, seam it up the sides, and you have a hat. Aha! And the hat looks just like this. I folded the brim up a little bit, but there you have it. If you have any questions, remember to leave a comment or shoot me an email. Remember to download the pattern, and see you hopefully in solidarity, at least on Saturday, marching for very, very good causes. Thanks you guys for watching. I hope to see you soon.